just give you a little snapshot of some things. So, sometimes we think of, well, we have to do something big to start off. Do things always start off big? Invariably, things start off small. The small start is really important. And Champions, when we really started out, really began a little bit with me building relationships with two champions, Sean and Gugu. And what I used to do, Tina, was actually take them to church in my grey Condor, which I still got today. And that was 2003, sorry. I used to take them to church, Isaac, and build a relationship. In medicine, we're taught about this clinical distance. You know what I mean? We're told not to get involved with patients. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that's not kingdom. That's not kingdom. So one of the things is to break those boundaries and get engaged. Get to know people. Build a relationship. And don't think you have to start with thousands. Start with two. Start with one. Build a relationship. Do something beautiful. For the least of these. Jesus talks about the least of these. He who does something for me, for the least of these, does something for me. For Jesus, he says. So I'm just going to give you a little story, one of the many stories, about doing something beautiful for the least of these. Remember the woman, Isaac, who broke the alabaster vial of perfume? Very expensive perfume on Jesus' feet. It was amazing, wasn't it? Something beautiful she did for Lord Jesus. I want to challenge you all today, each one of you, to do something beautiful for Lord Jesus. Something that's just so fragrant to heaven that heaven says, do you see that? Right, so Lynn Esther, champion originally from Zambia, age 18. We met her when she was about 15. And she was an amazing champion. I've learned if ladies got Esther in their name, something amazing is going to happen in their lives. It's just interesting, And she really lived up to her name, Esther, in a lot of ways. But the reality was, this was some years ago now, 2012, she actually failed several lots of treatment, and she was dying. She was dying. And we knew she was dying. Now, in African tradition, if you see somebody dying, you shouldn't mention it. Maybe it's true. Papua New Guinea, I don't know. You just don't mention it, you ignore it. Even though they're dying in front of you, you ignore it. But we decided to be bold, intentional, and recognize that she was dying. And we actually decided to do as our pastor, Pastor Tom, has taught us, and celebrate her before she died. Not after she died, before she died. What a risk, Tina. What a risk. What an emotional risk. That's what we did. So, Calvin, could you take us to the next slide? Thanks. So that's what we did. So I'm going to show you, first of all, before we show her celebration, to show that she really impacted champions in other countries before she died. She wasn't a lone owner. She made sure that when she saw the Lord Jesus, there was a lot of people behind her. And so she was one of the first people that helped us start Champions in Zambia. And this is her with a whole team of people. And this is her mentoring Zambian champion there. Okay. You can see she's a beautiful young lady. Okay, next slide. That's Lynn Esther telling her life story. She's an orphan, double orphan. I want to let you know that she's a niece of our current president, President Emerson Mnangagwa. We've never met him, but he did come to her funeral. So she told her story. She actually went on television in Zambia too. This is Lynn Esther here. It was in a very short space of time. Okay, next slide. She's a very colourful person. Loved to dance, liked to be out there, loved ice cream. Okay, and that's her with me, some of the leaders. Great smile. So she served a lot, but this is Lynn Esther now, and this is at the celebration we did for her. So these are champions who are leaders, and these are Champions for Life team members as well. So we all got together in a widow's home She opened her home to us, and we actually had a celebration for Lynn Esther. And this is her. We presented her a cake. You can see that, wow, she knew she was going to die. That she was so impacted by the love of God for what we did. But that love had to come through us. Had to come through us. Okay, next slide. So I want to talk about these two students. They're doctors now. This is Tarasai, and this is Nyasha. Nyasha's in Sweden. She's in Sweden at the moment doing a master's degree. She's an audio doctor, but she's in Sweden now. Tarasai is in Bulawayo. And what these two did was, before we did the celebration, they made this dress, this final dress, Deborah, this final dress for Lynn Esther to wear. And they presented her the dress, and she wore the dress on the evening. Next slide. So I'm going to stop there, but I just want to share that with you to say that, hey, I don't want you to think it has to be something big to start. There's something where you cross boundaries that we have in medicine, and you start touching people. And when I was thinking about this right now this morning, I was thinking of John 1, where Jesus, it says that the Word became flesh and lived among us. You know, he didn't stay up here, he came here. And he was flesh, so he touched us. And he engaged with us, and he lived amongst us. So I want to challenge you to go to your local adolescent HIV clinic in Denmark, in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, in India, in Hyderabad, and keep going wherever you're going, Reynard. Okay? Then keep and engage and start to build a relationship. The Bible, the book of Proverbs says, a gift opens the way for a giver. So sometimes people wonder how they could engage. Well, take a cake to the adolescent clinic and say, this is for the staff, don't forget the staff, okay, and the champions. And then maybe come back a month later with some clothing. Start building a relationship. It's got to start somewhere. Pichana, little by little, line by line, precept. Build a relationship. Get favor. You have to use wisdom. No, Calvin probably is the most experienced person engaging with clinics, and it's about building relationship. But it can be done. And then once you've got trust built, then the next thing you do is do what we did and say, right, we'd like to do an event for these guys. Make it something that will be acceptable, like, well, we'd like to do a little Easter celebration, or like a Christmas celebration, or like, maybe we'd like to do a birthday celebration for some champions. You know what I mean? Some of you live in sensitive places like Denmark, where maybe it's just a little bit harder. In Africa, it's not difficult to do this sort of thing, but some places it's hard. But use some sort of